Good evening, everyone. The Ranter is back to go into yet another rambling diatribe with the news of the day. However, this time around is not going to be a long one, because I'm really more in the mood of venting into the void something that's been pissing me off the past few days concerning our politics, and of course centering around what went down in Mar-a-Lago of the FBI executing a search warrant that was duly put together from a grand jury and a federal judge signing off on it, and every step of the way being upfront and so forth. But no, somehow magically, it was a unlawful, unconstitutional raid. I'm sure it was really violent in their minds. See, that's the stuff that is pissing me off. But when I get into this, I'm going to first put some crowbar separation as to who I'm referring to. I am not referring to Donald Trump. He's not really pissing me off. True, he's whining, as he's always whining. He's whining on Truth Social about all these things, and it's just not fair, and they're raiding him, but they didn't raid Hillary Clinton, even though he had 2 years of his presidency when he had Congress and his hand-picked Attorney General, which he could have done so if he wanted to, but he'd rather just talk about it and whine about it because that's enough. But not actually doing anything, because that was the whole point of his presidency. But that aside, he is not really pissing me off. And who also does not piss me off is your standard Trump supporters. And now when I mean standard, I mean people who are supporters of Donald Trump, who are not, professional people in politics, who are not in the news media, who are not politicians, who are not following it like political wonks like some of us are, who, for better or for worse, is supporting the man. Alright? For whatever reasons. They're not pissing me off. No. Who are pissing me the fuck off are people who know better. The people that have been pushing and moving the goalposts throughout this whole thing of the search warrant being executed, who go on Twitter and their social medias and the news segments on Fox News and Newsmax and OAN and wherever to fan the flames, to get people pissed off and try to keep people pissed off. People who know better. Now, they've been pissing me off in terms of Donald Trump all the way going back to his presidency. People who know better and yet prop him up when there's no earthly reason why you should, if you were actually dedicated to your politics and dedicated to the country. But they do. And this is not only just politicians, but again, news pundits, people, news networks who just hitch their star onto Donald Trump, and for better or for worse, their own livelihoods politically and financially is riding on him, so they're going to ride or die and say whatever the hell they want or they need to in order to keep themselves in his good graces because he keeps people beholden around him. What pisses me off is when these people who, again, know better, who knows about the judicial process of when someone executes a search warrant and there's an affidavit and certain things that happens with the affidavit, and so these people who know better go on social medias and they demand to see this, they demand to see that, and then when the Justice Department acquiesces and allows them to see shit, Then they move the goalpost away. They want to see the search warrant. Okay. They show you the search warrant, redacting the names of the agents and so forth for their safety, even though Donald Trump or one of his little minions, one of Breitbart, leaked this search warrant without redacting the names. So, you know, great risking their fucking lives, right? Then they move the goalposts because the search warrant really did not show Donald Trump in much great light of how many boxes of classified materials and the 4 levels of classified materials, all the way going from the top down, from top secret, classified, confidential, that he was carrying. Some of the stuff was involving our national security. Well, I don't know what they thought they were asking for when they were asking for the search warrant. That it wasn't going to say that. And it wasn't going to say that the FBI was taking boxes away of stuff. Then they demand the affidavit. We want the affidavit! We want the affidavit! And for the timeline of regular folk who get investigated or get indicted for a criminal crime that they will get arrested for, affidavits don't show up for public viewing, or at least, you know, the viewing of everyone, till after there's an indictment, till after someone gets arrested. And they're demanding the affidavit now, before then, now. And the Justice Department, again, who already called their bluff when they demanded the search warrant, because they thought that the Justice Department wasn't going to do that. And the Justice Department really slickly said, yeah, we can do that if the Trump team signs off on that. And of course, Trump, before his own team, like, kind of, you know, stops him, says, yeah, show it all. You know, you don't want that, do you? But, yeah, but then the search warrant goes by, and once again, we move the goalpost. And we want the affidavit. So, this back and forth the past week or so, and the affidavit shows up. Totally redacted. Not totally, but majority of it redacted, but there's a lot of material there that is not. That indicates that the reason why they were doing this raid, or executing the search warrant here, was due to human assets involvement, actual spy involvement in information. Aren't you glad that you wanted that so goddamn being seen and heard? But no, we have to move the goalpost again, because the affidavit that it shows up is redacted. Now, when they first started asking about seeing the affidavit, and I was hearing about it on, like, Twitter, I was responding to these people saying, yeah, you're going to show the affidavit and you're going to see nothing but the word "the," because it's all going to be redacted. And you know what? And these people, again, these people know better. They know better than to even act like this is such a travesty. This is just an enemy of transparency and all this other bullshit. They know fucking better. Because it's supposed to be redacted. It should be redacted. All the sensitive information that they are investigating in an active investigation, some things that concern human assets or national security, yeah, that should not be public. That should be redacted. The same thing as the names of the FBI agents should be redacted from the search warrant. And again, these people that know better are crying because of all the redaction. Why are we not seeing it? What are they trying to hide with all this redaction? No. It is a responsible government agent, responsible judicial system that is not recklessly just throwing out all information for consumption. it is a responsible government that knows that information not only is power, but it can get people hurt or killed. And again, these people know better. And yet, these people are making a travesty out of nothing. They should be fortunate that an affidavit even was made public, as redacted as it is, because again, they do not become something that people see until after there is an indictment. The people who know better want to play dumb so they can fan the flames of those who are listening to them and taking their opinion, perhaps, or they think they're taking their opinion as gospel, as this is a horrible travesty that is happening to poor Donald Trump, that Biden is going after him. When from every step of the way that we've seen the Justice Department move towards Trump, it's all been by the numbers. These people, again, who know better, take the reality of what is actually seen in the affidavit and then spins it to like, yep, this is proof right there. They don't know what they're doing. It was all a scam. Really? Really, it is? Yeah, the proof is right there. Okay, I'm going to go click and read it. No! No what? No, don't read it. I just told you it's a scam. Okay, well, I'm going to go read the scam. No! This is all traumatizing, obviously, but that is what I am taking out of this. That people who, again, know better, politicians, news pundits, people who have made themselves names for being in the political chum water for the feeding frenzy. When I kept hearing about them complaining and whining about the affidavit being mostly redacted, it reminds me of going back to the Bush administration, where there was reports for climate science, and the Bush administration went, okay, well, we'll post the climate science, all the summits, all our involvement in climate change and so forth, and they showed this redacted piece of paper, this report that was heavily redacted. It was just about climate change. There wasn't any, raid on anyone's house or club. There wasn't search warrants. There wasn't criminal affidavits. There wasn't crimes. It was just them not wanting to push forward an agenda on climate change, so that public cannot see what these reports were actually reporting on. See, that's a little bit different than this. That is a criminal ongoing investigation now. But you can tell that people are getting worried and getting nervous. From all the people that are pearl clutching and flailing as much as they can, not only to still, be sycophants for Donald Trump, but also trying to downplay what is being reported thus far and the direction this investigation is going. It's down to the point where people are actively saying that if Donald Trump gets prosecuted, whether he gets convicted or found innocent, if he is arrested, there will be riots in the street. Lindsey Graham said this. Is that a warning, or is that a threat? How many people are echoing this? Trump on Truth Social is echoing this. Don't prosecute me, or else burn, baby, burn. Paraphrasing. What does that say about our justice? About our government? About our legal system? That we should just cower and fear the potential backlash that could be violent? What is the... how should I go into this? What would be the long-term detrimental effect if all this is happening and all of a sudden they just go, close the book, forget about it, because in fear of whatever violent reprisal that may come from this? It's to the point where they don't want to even attempt to prove his innocence outside of just saying it, because again, perception is reality. As long as you say something, that is enough for some people. But when it gets down to the point where people are actually getting serious and talking about, evidence and, probable cause, and they find probable cause and they're trying to deny it, then it gets more and more serious than words that are just saying, he's innocent, he's not doing anything wrong, he declassified everything. That goes by the wayside, and all you have left is the fear of violence to try to stave this off, because maybe they themselves in this manner is saying that, well, if he goes into trial, if he actually gets arrested, he might not make it out. He might be found guilty. Alan Dershowitz went on Fox News and said that the government has enough to indict, but they shouldn't. Again, Lindsey Graham says if Trump gets prosecuted, there will be riots in the street. But again, going back around to what I originally said, what's pissing me off, it's not Trump supporters. What's pissing me off is not Donald Trump. It's people that know better. People like Lindsey Graham. People like the pundits on Fox News. The people who spent years, decades in the political eye, being politicians or being the voice of the distribution of news, who maybe have a credit in the legal system, who before Donald Trump would probably not go this route in defense of anybody. People that know better decide to pretend that they don't, and worse off, start sending code out to threaten a potential prosecution of what would happen if he gets prosecuted. They are the people that are pissing me off. And the reason why they're pissing me off is that they know that out of any 100, maybe 1,000 of people that are listening to this diatribe, there could be just one out of that bunch who's lone wolfing in his mind of making America great again against the invaders, against Biden, against the FBI. And it's when people will say, well, that's hyperbole. That's... You're just being a little dramatic. What happened when this political system that was circled around Donald Trump to protect him socially started bad-mouthing the FBI? Someone went to the Cincinnati field office of the FBI and started taking pot shots with a gun. Got it in his head. How did that get there? Because it's not just Donald Trump saying things. It's everybody around him that prop him up. People who know fucking better. It was never Donald Trump alone. If you go back any of my videos that I've been doing for years now, you go back to many of those videos, if I ever talk about Donald Trump, I also remind the people that listen to this, the half dozen of you that do, that it's not just him. If it was just Donald Trump as president, even as president, if it was just him, with all his antics and all his whining and all the talking but not doing, that would be one thing. That would him just being isolated. And not really much to be done one way or another, right? But it's the people around him, the legitimate people in politics that prop him up, that give him legitimacy. Those people who, for whatever reason, feel themselves so beholden to Donald Trump, again, maybe they need his fan base support. I mean, look at today's politics. Look at the Republican side of their primaries. How from state after state after state they're whining about voter fraud against other Republicans, accusing Republican candidates of PSY operations. Someone who's a Trump supporter who didn't win her primary. She's not going to concede because she's a winner. Because you all love that perception is reality fantasy land that Trump lives in, that they want to live vicariously in there with him, where there is no responsibility, there is no accountability, there is no evidence, there's no proof, there's no verification. You just say shit. And you don't even have to do anything. Just say it. That's enough. That's enough proactiveness. I mean, you have to rehash things because, hey, they're rehashing shit. Donald Trump whines about Obama. All the documentation that he was able to keep. And why are they raiding his house? Yeah. Because, and the National Archive responded to that because of not only that Obama's documentation had to go from electronic and actual hard copy and so forth, Obama asked to keep the documents. And they said yes. Since they know what the documentation was, so they agree for him to keep it. He wants to whine, and Trump supporters and people, again, who know better, want to whine about Hillary Clinton. They want to have the juxtaposition of, well, what about Hillary Clinton? What about Hillary Clinton? Why are you raiding his house when there's Hillary Clinton? Over there. She's over there. She's literally over there. Don't you see her? She's there. About her, acid washing documentation off of her phones? Stuff that she had that's just gone. Reminder. And I had to remind, ever so often on Twitter, I had to remind these gerbils who bring Hillary Clinton up. It's like, oh yeah, the whataboutism about it. Trump had 2 years with control of the House and AG. If this was such goddamn serious issue, they could have investigated her. I mean, haven't they investigated her enough? I mean, they weren't afraid of investigating her beforehand. Had the ability, had the time, had the people, was able to do it. Did not. Did not, because all he wanted to do was allow her to be this foil. So, the compare and contrast. To be the whataboutism. So if anything that he does, oh, what about Hillary? Over there. Yeah, over there. She's right there. Hillary, don't look at me. Look over there. did nothing about Hillary. Because she's more valuable to complain about. Like all these people on social media are complaining about Hillary. When something could have been done. And they did not do it. Be the Justice Department decided against it. Trump just being lazy, not wanting to do it, just wanted to talk about it. Which is pretty much the motto of his presidency. Talk, do nothing. Tell me I'm wrong. You can't. You can't. People that know better, who are so beholden to Trump, as this getting worse and worse and worse for him, they cannot personally tap out like other politicians are, that are discreetly, quietly, not getting on the bandwagon of all these conspiracy theories about the FBI and everything else, and crying about Hunter Biden and all the breaking news. The FBI is not investigating Hunter Biden. He is under investigation by the DOJ. We know this. Oh, but the FBI was told not to investigate him. Which is only breaking news on like low rent web pages. Can probably slant it a certain way. Now you could say media bias is not doing anything about it. Fine, whatever. Here's the thing. Once again, as I brought this up many times, investigate Hunter Biden. Do it. If he's a scumbag, y'all just wanted to call him a scumbag anyway because that's just a distraction and deflection away from precious Trump. But if he's indeed a scumbag, investigate it. Why aren't they looking at his laptop? I thought you guys had the laptop. Wasn't it like weeks or months ago that we would get all this information about the laptop? That it would stream out? Breaking news, more stuff from the laptop. And it was what, like porn sites? I mean, if you have it, then what's the investigation? You can crack that thing open, don't you? Haven't you already done that? Or is that just another device of distraction? A compare and contrast to make Trump the victim and Hunter Biden just he's the more important issue here. No, not Trump. No, I'm not going to go too long on this. I said say that at 28-minute mark, but all this is from all the appeals, all the sidestepping, all the sashaying away from actual any responsibility, is Donald Trump and his fan base minions in the political power. I'm not talking about his supporters. I'm talking about those, again, who know better, are all trying to delay. All this is just noise. The same thing as the declassification. Oh, he just declassified this. He declassified. He said it. He said he declassified, so it has to be declassified. He just can think it and it's declassified. No. He can. He has an absolute constitutional right to be able to declassify anything, but he has to actually go through the process of it, and that has to actually be acknowledged. But even that argument of the classified and declassified, that's also just a distraction, because the way that these issues that resulted in the search warrant about mishandled materials and Presidential Records Act doesn't involve classification. It doesn't matter if any of the stuff he kept that were classified or declassified. It's irrelevant to the point as why they are there. So all that declassified stuff that people are arguing back and forth, be it on social medias or the Facebook group I'm on, Middle America, or we'll hear on media, on the talking points, or whatever segment, or whatever show you want to watch, from MSN on the one side, CNN on the left side, Fox News on the right side, OAN, Newsmax, Christian Mingle, whatever. Declassification doesn't matter. It doesn't. The fact that he has classified materials? That on its own is a side venture into this. A horrible revelation of what the fuck he's holding on to. What is he holding on to and why? And here's another thing. For those who claim that Trump declassified this material, okay. One of the functions about why people declassify things is so that they can become public knowledge. So are we saying that national security interests that he declassified is public knowledge? That if it's public knowledge, then he should have posted it all, shouldn't he? Because he understands what declassified means, right? Like anything else he claims to understand, or how any of you who know fucking better. That's just a little side tidbit. Once again, classified, declassified, completely irrelevant to the point at hand of him mishandling materials that the National Archive wanted returned. And we're going to drop this now. Just a reminder, a little rehash of the moving of the goalposts. When they went and did their search warrant, and Trump whined about them planting evidence, which was, we didn't even know there was evidence. And then the goalposts got moved. Oh, the FBI are planting evidence! But then Trump wanted that stuff back and returned to where it came from. Wasn't that planted? Then the people that know better ask for a search warrant. Get the search warrant. Why aren't they showing us a search warrant? They Merrick Garland. Okay. Trump signs off on it. Trump team signs off on this. Boom. We'll unseal the search warrant. Fuck. They said in their mind. And they're still complaining. Goalpost gets moved again. We want to see the affidavit. We want to see the affidavit. Why aren't you showing us the affidavit? Something that you're not supposed to see before an indictment. Okay. All right. Well, federal judge will allow us clearing the way to allow us to give you a copy of the affidavit. Oh, but it's redacted. It's redacted. You're just hiding things. This is all redacted. Saying people who know fucking better. Moving the goalpost again. And moving again. And moving again. Until we get to the point where people are so scared they go, you know what, Trump gets prosecuted. If they arrest him, there are going to be riots. So you better not do it, because there might be riots. Don't bring in that justice shit around here. No. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Again. And the end. At this point in time, I'm not pissed off at Donald Trump. I'm not pissed off at his supporters. I'm pissed off at those who know better, who's fanning the flames of conspiracy theory, of this bullshit that already inspired one guy to take pot shots at the FBI in Cincinnati. They will get someone hurt or killed. And they know better than this. See you next time. Fucking hell.